Namaste, I'm JVWU and my session is on environmentalism. The need for the protection of human environment can be legitimately described as an international objective of primary importance. The protection of environment has today gained recognition as a common concern of all the civilized states. Consequently, protection of environment through global and collective efforts constitutes one of the major areas of activity in contemporary times. The deterioration of environment due to unprivileged use of natural resources, industrialization, urbanization, use of pesticides, and because of the existence of problems like poverty, poor using, bad public health, malnutrition, and inadequate or you can say inadequate employment, which characteristics life in almost all the developing countries, have together compelled the humankind to devise ways and means not only for checking the fast deteriorating environment but also for recovering the environment through conscious efforts and planning. All has given rise to the need for the regulation of behavior of nations at international level, both for prevention of every future deterioration of environment as well as for the adoption of eco-friendly technologies. This has also given rise to the need to ban certain chemicals and products of daily use which have been the main culprits behind the big deterioration being suffered by our environment. The concept of protection of the environment involves the attempt to prevent pollution, particularly global level pollution and environmental degradation. One of the accepted rules of international law has been that no state should act in a manner or permit the use of its territory in a way as can be injurious to other states. This rule is taken to mean in contemporary time as a rule which compels every nation not to act in a way as can cause environmental pollution or degradation. It is well within the scope of international law to enact rules for the protection of environment by all the states individually as well as collectively. It was in the 1960s that the humankind began becoming conscious of the need for adopting of Convention on Environment. On 3rd December 1968, the UN General Assembly passed a resolution favoring an international conference on human environment. Like the Stockholm Conference on Human Environment 1972, the UN Convention on Human Environment was held at the Stockholm from June 5 to 6 June 1972 and it adopted a Declaration on Human Environment. 7 areas were delimited for securing action directed towards the protection of human environment. Like the Declaration of the Human Environment. The UN Conference on the Human Environment 1972 in its section 1 contained the Declaration of the Human Environment. It divided in two parts. The first part contains general observations like man is both creature and molder of his environment. The protection and improvement of the human environment affect the economic development of the world and the natural growth of population continuously present problems for the preservation of environment. The second part of the declaration contained 26 principles and these principles reflect the fundamental international responsibility of states regarding environmental preservation and pollution control. The action plan for the human environment. This divided into three parts. To identify problem of international significance so as to warn against an impending environmental crisis. Then recommendation concerning environment management, supporting measures such as education, training, public information and others for strengthening the process of protection of human environment by making the people educated in this area. The resolution on institutional and financial arrangements. The resolution recommended the establishment of a voluntary fund for addition of finances for environmental program. To provide for the maximum efficient coordination of UN environmental programs, the resolution recommended the establishment of an environmental coordinating board. Resolution on designation of World Environment Day. In order to create awareness among the people in respect of environmental programs, the resolution on World Environment Day recommended that 5th June each year was to be observed as the World Environment Day. Resolution on nuclear weapons test. A resolution in plenary session condemned nuclear tests, especially those carried out in the atmosphere, and called upon states to refrain from conducting such tests as contaminated the environment. Resolution of holding of a second conference on environment. The resolution recommended that UN General Assembly should take initiative to convene a second UN conference on the human environment at an appropriate time. The Stockholm Conference on Human Environment also referred to government of all the states its recommendations for action at the national level. After the Stockholm Conference and the subsequent establishment of UNEP, a global environmental protection movement began taking place.